The Wire is known for its realism and incredible writing and characters. However, there is one thing that people who really seem to have a sour thoughts on or hate, and that is The Wire Season 5. In this video I want to look at the arguments for and against to see if it really was that bad. First off is the fact McNulty seems to be at his most annoying here. Due to the Dominic West not being in much of Season 4, it allowed them to create an almost perfect character arc for McNulty. He's much more likeable, has more of a relationship with the street, and seems to be more happy, of course until Bodhi's death. However, the lengths he goes to do seem quite extreme. Of course, the main thing he does do is create a fake serial killer in order to gain funding to catch Marlowe and his crew, which seems to be almost extreme for McNulty and somewhat uncharacteristic. However, I will back McNulty later on in the arguments for why it wasn't that bad. This killer plotline leaves me to another big point, the unrealistic nature. Now, most people agree this is such an extreme way to take the story and character of McNulty, and seems to not really be even possible due to the scale of it, filling the newspapers, the police department, and the city government and mayor. And the unrealistic nature is carried on when Omar jumps out the window. In reality, the character that Omar is based on, this actually did happen, and from a higher distance, they even brought down the height at which he jumped to make it more feasible. However, it's mostly confusing due to the fact he disappears so quickly, and the next day we see him walking with a limp, suggesting this is not possible. And given the realistic tone of the show, this seems to be a somewhat betrayal of that tone. Another big thing is the fact that Ed Bounds, one of the head writers of the show, left it. Now this is seen by many as the reason the show does dip in quality, as he was responsible for vital characters and plotlines, the Mr. Prez in particular. So now it seems The Wire was only a David Simon project. I would compare this to the Coen brothers. Both are great and incredible together, and when they are separate, still good, but when they work together, it's like dynamite. And the last issue is the characters. What I mean by that is that in every season of the show, we are introduced to great new characters. Frank for Season 2, Marlowe for Season 3, Season 4 the school kids, but in Season 5 the only new one that seems good is Gus, who while good isn't really anywhere near those characters, and the rest are kinda just of the same. Now onto the defence. First, McNulty is the fact that his character is supposed to show the rise and fall of him, and it shows just how desperate McNulty has become in order to catch Marlowe, tricking everybody just because he was saddened by Bodhi's death.
Hey, you were 4 to 12, right? You heard about Bodhi?
What about?
Bodhi from up Payson.
Yeah, what?
Shot dead on his corner. Midnight shift caught it.
And by the end he has essentially lost nearly everything, but is still with Beatty, which is done in a perfectly done way. Next is the unrealistic nature. Now yes, it's very unrealistic, however in particular of Omar, that seems to kinda be the point. He seems to be an unrealistic character, especially for the show, thus he is able to escape Chris and Snoop very quickly. And after his death he seems to be a legend in the street, with many people not knowing how he died. A quick one is the fact that it came after possibly the greatest TV season of all time, and thus could not live up to the expectations, and thus took a different approach due to the pressure of how good the 4th season of The Wire was. And finally is the fact that it has some of the show's best scenes, from Omar's death to the final montage to Snoop's death, and Marlowe's final scene, where we see how unimportant he has become. So, in conclusion, the season is, I believe, not that bad, and has some incredible and iconic scenes within it. However, I do believe it is one of the weaker seasons, due to the higher standards that the actors, writers, and the rest of the crew set for themselves.
What the fuck you know about what I did on my mom, motherfucker?